You will get further in life by being consistently reliable than you do by being occasionally extraordinary. And with that, a new Count Daily app over here where I talk for 10 minutes unedited, and after 10 minutes, I just cut it off where we talk about random topics. Today, I guess, constantly reliable versus occasionally extraordinary. I have seen this in a short, so I just was randomly scrolling shorts, and that was a quote that sort of came at me, and I immediately wrote it down because, oh my god, that is an amazing thing to think about. Because, so one thing that I really struggle with, and we'll see if others struggle with it similarly, I really like to have things pre-prepared. What does that mean? In my job, I am making YouTube videos, meaning I can get YouTube videos finished before they have to go out, right? So I don't have to record every single day. Now, within the Kaupenjoe Daily apps, I do this a little bit, so I don't. I try to do something for the yaps every day. However, I am not necessarily trying to record them every single day because sometimes it is just not possible, right? If I'm gone in the morning and then I come back and then I do have some other work, then usually it doesn't always fit. So sometimes I do record 2 or 3 episodes in one day, but I think that that's fine as long as I do some tiny thing here, be it upload a video, edit this a little bit, as in I take the videos and I make them into shorts. So that's the editing I mean. Anyway, so still, it is interesting that my personal thing is, and I said this maybe before, maybe not, if I could work out for an entire month in one day where I just work out for 8 hours, right? And then I get the same benefits as if I were to work out every second day or every, Monday, Wednesday, Friday for like an hour or so. If I could just condense all of that into one day, right? 10-hour workout and the same benefits would accrue to me, I would 100% do that because I like this sort of batching. I like this thing. Okay, I am now done with this thing completely and I can move on to something else. Because one thing that I sometimes struggle with in one day is to task switch from one big thing to another. So yesterday I helped a friend with like a computer problem, and I was at their place from like, I don't know, like 9 to like 2 p.m. or something like that, right? So quite a long time. And then I came back and I only did like a little bit of work after that, even though basically the entire like day, like the entire afternoon was still available to me. And that's kind of strange, right? So sometimes I have this like issue of like switching, and then when I have something in the evening, like an hour before that, I have to sort of like mentally prepare for that. This might be ADHD or something, I don't know, but regardless, that sometimes just happens. And going back to the first quote of the consistently reliable and the occasionally extraordinary, I personally like this way more to be like, okay, I'm gonna work today like 12 hours on this one thing and I have it done, and then I don't need to touch it again for like 2 months, and then I'm good. And this is, I think, a completely backwards model, just like the quote says, right? It is a daily, if you do one thing every single day, that is going to be better than doing 5 things once a week. That's the idea. Because not only, most likely, just by like you going to sleep and sort of you're ruminating on whatever you've done, I think that is already going to make you better at that thing, just because you're going to be, in sleep, you're going to go through your day again and you're going to relearn stuff and you're going to learn stuff, so you're going to get better. But also, you might just tire out on one day, because it's like if you have to do something, let's say like this thing, it takes 2 hours, then 10 hours in one day, you are going to be fried. Like it's like the last three, maybe 4 hours are going to be really rough, especially if it's something that's, like something that's a little bit taxing. So that is one thing, and that is probably one of the things that I struggle with the most. So if you can be consistent, consistency is king. And it's funny because it's not even that I mean, probably we all kind of know that, but the way that I wrote my first books, so I have written 2 books, never published, one fantasy novel and one sci-fi novel. And the way that I did that is I said, okay, every single day I'm going to write 500 words. Now, there were some sort of cheat systems that I was able to do, because I was also then creating questionnaires, basically to give some of the chapters to people, and those would also count towards the 500. So fair enough, you know, made it a little bit easier. But regardless of that, every single day I wrote 500 words. And even here, this is the crazy thing. Even here, when I talk about you can already you can like pre-do something, right? So like at the YouTube videos, I already have YouTube videos for like the next week and a half or 2 weeks or 5 weeks ahead. I've pre-produced stuff. Even in the daily writing of the book, it's, well, once it's 12 a.m., that's the new day. So congratulations, at 12 a.m. you can write your 500 words for that day. And that is what I did so often, which is a sort of tiny cosm, like a microcosm of exactly the same thing that I'm doing with sometimes these YouTube videos, right? Not like specifically these, but like just in general. And that's just, I don't know, that's kind of crazy when you think about it, right? So I have this, the urge to pre-produce something and to have this like occasional just go crazy and then just chill out a little bit. I don't know. It's definitely not the right way to do it. And the right way also isn't. That's why it says consistently reliable versus occasionally extraordinary. I think reliable is like, if you have something that you want to do, right? I don't know, a YouTube video, you want to write a book, then it's not about doing 1,500 or 8,000 words every single day. It is about doing it reliably and consistently. Meaning, if you can do 200 words a day, then frickin' go for it, okay? But 200 words a day is still going to be better after a year. That's going to be basically a book. That's like 70,000 words. You're good. You're good at that. Like after that. And maybe some days you're like, no, I have to finish this. And all of a sudden you wrote like 900 words that day. And you're like, let's freaking go, baby. Right? That's fine. And you shouldn't overthink things like that. Right? It is the consistency that's going to results. There's some, I don't know, I think it was Duncan Trussell, I think it was, who said that, but I'm not 100% sure. I think it was on Joe Rogan. But it was something about quantity has a quality all of its own. And I'm like, yes, it does. And that's why sometimes, it is actually Dan Carlin, apparently. But I was close enough. Yeah, quantity has sort of a quality on its own, where it goes back to this one thing. You may have heard the story before, but there was a pottery class, and the pottery class in this university, he said, listen, folks, I'm going to split you up in 2 groups. One group of students is going to make me the perfect clay pot, okay? I want you to make the perfect clay pot, and that is what you will be graded on. And the other class, I'm going to grade you, like the other half of the class, I'm going to grade you on the amount of clay pots that you're going to make, okay? So that's what I want you to basically do. And they said, all right, that's going to be fine. I'm going to do that. So the students went away and they made their clay pots, right? One half of the class, they just made clay pots like crazy. Bam, 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 just pumping them out like nuts. And the other half of the class were trying to perfect their one clay pot. And when it came time to judge the pots, every single high quality pot was of the half of the class that did the amount of pots. And that is because while you do something, that is when you learn. Now, once again, it's so simple. It is, the paradoxes just keep on coming because most sort of advice is super simple and we all actually know it. We just sometimes have to hear it at the right time, said in the right order, in the right way. While we're doing something correctly, it is sometimes just needed that way. So the practical advice is you cannot learn to ride a bike by reading about how to ride a bike. What you have to do is you have to ride a bike. There we go. That's the idea and that's the advice. So the advice here at the end over here, because I do want to kind of be practical a little bit, is you have to do something. And when you do something, do it consistently. Don't work out for 2 hours. Don't try to work out for 2 hours every day. Do 20 minutes a day, and that's going to be worth every single step of the result. Anyway, that's going to be it for today's Yap. Hope you found this useful, and talk to you again next time.